Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about the power of routines. When I say routines to the athletes that I work with, they sort of check out. Routines seems so routine, so boring, so disciplined. So I have to do this. But routines are vital to our success as athletes or as performers in any way, which you'll hear in just a couple minutes. If you watched the Women's College World Series, you saw two pitchers who had very distinctive routines on the mound. Jordy Bahl from Oklahoma walked around the mound like a caged lion ready to jump out and get her prey. Estelle Czech from Texas had a very different approach. They're both really fiery, they're both really competitive, but Estelle did less walking and more talking. Jordy got herself physically ready. You can look at her routine. I've got a link in the article at ssbperformance.com/blog. Estelle Czech was talking to herself every single pitch, talking to herself. I don't know what she was saying. I didn't read her lips. I didn't need to know what she was saying, but I knew that she was consistent. Whether she threw a ball, a strike, a home run, a base hit, a walk, consistently she was talking to herself, just like Jordy Bahl was doing the same thing no matter what the outcome of the pitch was. She was preparing herself. Both of them were preparing themselves for the next pitch. We go from our approach to our action to our result to our response. That approach is vital. How we approach what's coming next, the plan, the system that we use prepares us to be our best. As I used to tell the teams that I coached all the time, the teams that do the mundane and the routine drills are championship teams. Why? Because we're training our bodies to do what we need them to do when that situation comes. Why, if we do that physically, do we not do that mentally? We need to have the same exact approach. Our routines have to be physical, but they also have a mental side. All the athletes I talk with also say, I have a routine, this is what I do. You have routines too. So do I. We brush our teeth every night, or at least I hope you do. We brush our teeth every night. That's a routine. It's actually more of a habit. What are you doing while you're brushing your teeth? Are you thinking about how to brush your teeth perfectly so that your dentist doesn't have to chisel all that stuff off your teeth? You're welcome, Dr. Raymond. Are you thinking about what would help you be better at that at the time? Are you talking productively to yourself, saying, good job, make sure you're doing this, all the productive things that would make brushing your teeth the very best and you have the cleanest teeth in the country? No, you're going through the motions, which is what our athletes are normally doing in their routines. So my contention is that we need to get them to have new routines. Some of the athletes that I work with, I let them have leeway on what they want to do with their routines. I have just actually started to give people specific routines that I think would help them to get them started. Just like you and me, sometimes we need to be pushed along and say, here, do this. And then you can figure out the value of it. And then as you have something now to compare it to, you can add your own ideas in and make your own routines. But routines are vital to our success. They put structure in the time before plays or between plays. And you and I both know that we work best in structure. Does your team get a better GPA during the season because they have more structured time? Do you do better when you have your day planned out than when you just wake up and say, oh, I think I'll do these things, but you don't have it structured? I am certain of the answer to those questions, just like with me. If I have structure, I get more done. If I have structure, I am more focused. And our routines help us gain confidence. They help us eliminate distractions. They help reduce anxiety. They help improve consistency. They help enhance confidence. These routines make a difference. So what do we do before we walk up and perform? I remember I was sitting in class years ago, obviously when I was in college, and one of my professors, he was in a communications class of all things. He was the #1 sales guy in Cleveland in radio sales. And before every sales pitch that he made, he had a routine. And I thought, man, this is what athletes do. He would get into an elevator, or a room, and he would do sort of like a power pose with this real, like, vital, like, sort of like animalistic yes that he was getting ready to go. Then he'd go through a checklist of what he was going to do, thinking about what was going to happen when he got into that room. He did this for every sales call he made. He knew what he needed to do to be in his optimum state to perform. That's what Jordy Ball does. That's what Estelle Check does. That's what we all need to do. What do our routines need to be? They need to be short. They need to be positive. They need to be repeatable, obviously. Right? They also need to depend only on us. They can't depend on somebody else. They can't depend on other implements that we may not have at the time. But we can always have a positive statement that we say to ourselves, a mantra, a power statement, something like that. We can have productive self-talk. Go to already planned mantras. Because we're not just going to walk into a situation and say, oh, I think I'm going to think positive today if we haven't practiced that. We can always have some physical thing that we do to prepare ourselves, whatever that might be. We can always have something set that we see. We can always use our visualization. It's always a great time to watch ourselves do what we want in our own mind's eye. What do you want to happen? Picture it before it happens. So we can have something to say, we can have something to do, we can have something to see, and put them in whatever order fits best for you. But those things take practice, and they seem so simple. But we know that simple isn't always easy. Simple takes training a lot of times. So the question is, how are we going to get ourselves to that optimal point for performance? And if we can be consistent with what we do, so that our approach is consistent, which leads to more consistent action, which leads to more consistent results, which leads to more consistent responses, and then flips back around to the approach. That approach is vital to everything else in that line. So my question to you is, what routines do you need to implement for yourself? How can you help your athletes implement routines? Maybe I can help them. It's something that I think I do very well, and if I can help you, please reach out. But routines are vital. What do you do to stop one play from the next? Prepare yourself to walk into that play. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful. It just gives you the best chance to perform your best. It gives you the best chance to take your training and your talent and put it to the best use. So, what are your routines going to be? How are you going to help your athletes get consistent routines that will lead to more consistent results? That's the question. Until next week, manage the moments. Don't forget to check out the links at the bottom of the article at SSB Performance/blog that will give you links to 2 free mental performance training seminars that I'm having, one this Wednesday, June 15th, and one on July 12th. So check those out. Sign up today. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.